The following podcast may contain strong language. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello, and welcome to Hallmark of Greatness Last Orders, the podcast where we look back into the films our favourite Hallmark actors and directors would rather forget they were ever involved with. I'm Joe, and with me as always, he has got a job at the CERN Super Collider for his excellent science work involving chip baskets. It's James!
Oh, the core samples guy. Love him.
Yeah,
Everything about him. It's mad science.
And the man who is currently involved in a legal imbroglio with the National Trust as he's trying to register his house as the first place Paul Burrell stole Princess Diana's pants, it's Mark Plant.
It actually happened. Yeah, it actually happened. There were those red Speedo type pants. Swimming trunks, I think, is the word I'm looking for. Yeah.
If you want to keep up to date with upcoming film choices and that, you can follow us on Twitter at Hallmark of Great, all one word. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Threads at Hallmark of Greatness. Or if you're one of those guys who tears the sleeve off their clothes just to flex their beefy upper arms and want to recommend a film to us, you can email us at hallmarkofgreatness@gmail.com. It's all a bit confusing, isn't it? Because like of the Hallmark ones and then the non-Hallmark ones, I've just decided to fuse them all together into one intro because otherwise I get confused as to where we were doing a month ago, essentially.
Yeah, fair enough.
Does a job.
It's fine.
It's just we're going to get a lot of like people expecting, I don't know, Thanksgiving pie, whatever, and they're going to get people with like weird bird helmets and gorilla bodies and stuff.
Rudy Manchego. Well, that leads us lovely into this week's film, At the Earth's Core from 1976. Yeah. I mean, I have fond memories of watching this sort of shit.
All of these I adore.
And yet,
at least I thought I did.
This annoyed the ever-living piss out of me.
It had good moments.
Did it?
Oh, yeah, nothing happens.
I liked the ship thing, the iron mold.
Yeah,
that's
what I'm thinking of.
For some reason, they thought, we're going to drill into the earth. Let's put a Welsh dresser in here, because we're going to need that.
But they were in Wales.
Well, yeah.
They'd also got some cheese on toast.
Yeah, and but there was
I've made a list of everything they fucking take.
A red rugby shirt.
But before we get into all of that, let's fire up the machine.
Well, that is the Steel Glory device of Azerbaijan. It thought At the Earth's Core was about, in the dimly lit streets of the 1940s Los Angeles, private investigator Jake Harlan finds himself entangled in a web of mystery and deceit. When a prominent scientist goes missing, leaving only cryptic clues, Harlan's investigation takes an unexpected turn. As he delves deeper, he discovers a secret underground laboratory where a group of eccentric scientists is experimenting with a device that could alter the Earth's core. They're going to have to take core samples. It doesn't say that. Harlan navigates the noir landscape, encountering femme fatales, a bit lazy, and shady characters from the dark underbelly of the city. Along the way, he forms an unlikely alliance with mysterious 90s celebrity Winona Ryder. Not as any character, just as herself.
Just as Winona Ryder.
Yep.
Watch your
For some
handbags.
reason,
Jesus.
holds the key to the scientist's motivations. As they journey into the Earth's depths, they encounter bizarre creatures, remnants of experiments gone awry. The film unfolds with a mix of suspense and intrigue, blending 1940s aesthetics with the unexpected presence of 90s icons. Will he expose the truth or become entangled in a plot that trans space and time? Ask again later.
These have got far too good. We need to pull some of the circuit boards out of this machine. Back to doing them on punch cards or something, because I'd watch the fuck out of that.
30% of that actually happens in this film.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, it kind of does. But the actual synopsis for 1976's At the Earth's Core, a Victorian-era scientist and his assistant take a test run in their iron mold drilling machine, and they end up in a strange underground labyrinth ruled by a species of giant telepathic birds and full of prehistoric monsters and cavemen and knockoff Godzillas. Let's get into it.
If we must.
Well, we've got to do something. We can't just sit here in silence for an hour. the opening of this with all the iron in the. Did anyone else get big like look around you vibes?
No, I got a huge,
Yes.
I got a huge Terminator 2, the end of Terminator 2 vibes.
Just the music. It was very open university. So
It starts off really serious, boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom, and then it goes diddly 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 twee.
it gets all. We're working in a steel mill. Cha cha cha. Yeah, and I was like,
Hot
what?
stuff coming through.
Why did you take me to a Victorian steel mill?
The music was actually, because I looked this up, there were moments of it I liked. There were moments of it that was very Echoes, Pink Floyd. But it was Mike Vickers from Manfred Mann who did it all.
What?
Yes.
Wow.
For a period of him being unemployed, presumably between Manfred Mann and the Manfreds or something.
This is it. This is my comeback.
Manfred Mann and the Centre of the Earth band.
And at the end, it's just him doing like that one button on the keyboard, like one of the high notes.
There's a lot of soundscapes, I think they're called. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's all of this people working in a steel mill and a man banging a hammer just against a wall.
You do. When you run out of anvils.
When you want to look busy at work.
It's the steel mill equivalent of the clipboard. Just yeah. And we are introduced to, I would say, the main protagonist of this, David.
Yeah, David Innes, Doug McClure, everyone.
Fucking
he's
McClure on his face like an old steak.
How old was he meant to be? He was meant to be quite young. Had he not just graduated from college? Like Tommy Boy, though, he'd been there for 6 years. But a lot of people go to college for 6 years. Yeah, doctors.
Yeah, he's like Van Wilder, but it was just opium and laudanum pies. Like
he's like Van Wilder, but this is funny.
Well, yeah, all right. Don't let my missus hear you say that. Yeah, and he is doing like an early press conference style thing in front
Just
of
talking to some bloke.
In front of, there's a lot of rear projection in this film.
yes.
Like they've got one big screen and they're going to use it. We've paid for it for a whole week, so.
But I like that.
Did you
It was
spot what was
a nice change. Oh, go on.
Did you see what was bringing in the mole? It was either the engine.
What's that?
This little green train.
Oh,
Bringing in the mole. It looked the spit of either the engine. I was like, oh, come on, get me one of them.
yeah, but this iron mole as they bring it in looks like someone's like turned Thunderbird 1 on its side.
That's what upset me
exactly
the most.
there.
That's exactly
Yeah.
what upset me the most. I was thinking, my God, we're going to rescue some miners from a collapsed thing. In fact, why did they never do that with those Chilean miners? Why didn't they just get Thunderbird 1 in? Drop it in.
I can tell you a very sad story about my mum's upbringing revolving Thunderbirds, but I'm not going to.
Okay.
But yeah, it involves canal and near child death.
Jesus, that
Okay.
doesn't sound FAB.
No, it does not. And someone's bet him that they're going to drill through this hill to test this contraption, this iron mole, which is essentially a dildo with a corkscrew on the end. It looks like, doesn't it? Like,
Yeah.
And some guy bets him 50 guineas that my horse and cart will beat you round the hill.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, who's this prick?
I was more paying attention to the brass band in the background of the parade. Did anyone see the big banner? I loved it. It just
No,
said,
I didn't.
It just said "Bon voyage" to the Iron Mole.
Okay.
I want that banner just
If I was a
for all
Dick Tracy
occasions.
villain, I think I'd be called the Iron Mole.
Fair.
Yeah.
So they all get wrecked on champagne, which is possibly why they fuck up a bit later.
I think they fucked up by putting a fireplace in the damn thing.
Yeah. David Innes is a bounder and a cad, and possibly a rake.
He is
He
wearing his
says,
hat at the jauntiest angle available.
Yeah. He's not got like a pinstripe. He's got sort of like a wide stripe thing.
It
going
looks
on.
like something Noddy Holder would say, nah, that's too much.
It looks like he's going boating.
It looks like he's about to sell you a horse. It's weird.
He actually looks like it's Confidence from Red Dwarf. It's
Oh,
Confidence
yeah.
Paranoid. That's
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
suit, isn't it? Yeah. But we're also introduced to Dr. Abner Perry, played bewilderingly by Peter Cushing, right? Who must have not read the script and just gone, I'll just do bits all the way through
Yeah.
it. What's your name?
Yeah,
What's your character's name, David? I'll just scream that fucking constantly.
He's like, I loved those Tintin books. I'm going to be that bloke. I'm gonna be that professor out of Tintin, is what he's done.
But he looks as well, he looks like the bastard love child of Grandpa Joe. and like that creepy guy from The Simpsons. Like that guy. No, from Family Guy.
No,
Sorry,
from
Family Guy.
Yeah, he does a little bit. Yeah.
Oh right, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Sorry. And he's like a professor that taught David's dad. David has put the money up for this iron mole, but
I'm sure David is supposed to be Welsh from his name. And the fact that everybody else isn't set in Wales, and yet he's the most American man possible.
I did not
even
think he was
try.
supposed to be Welsh.
I wonder because it's based on a book, isn't it? I think in the book, I didn't get any sense that he was supposed to be an American.
I kind of want to read the book, just the 8 pages of screech,
Yeah,
run away, big mushroom.
It does get a little bit wild. The machine has a 78 foot per minute boring speed, much like myself. The test run is supposed to not dig into the center of the earth and self-immolate, but they climb aboard. I'll just check the gyroscopes. Very nice.
Yeah, we get a sound effect. Yeah, and then he's like, I'll just check the tea's made. I'll just hit the servants. It's like, the thing is, right, I quite like because is this steampunk?
Sort of is, isn't it?
Because I thought like Victoriana isn't, is it? Like, is this?
Yeah.
They're both sitting in like high-backed leather chairs with just toggles and switches and all this stuff.
I thought it's actually pretty perfect, isn't it? Because it's obviously it's the 70s, but they're doing something that's decades earlier. So anything that you put in that looks antiquated, it's supposed to. So it's kind of like the perfect.
It's like the opposite of retrofuturism, isn't it?
Yeah. I quite like the aesthetics of like the console room because there's a Welsh dress in the background with plates on it.
3 china plates.
What were you planning on doing, David?
Salt and pepper shakers. A
sword
with a
on the
fancy
wall.
Greek design on it.
Yeah, like there's a bookshelf in there. There's a hammer. Like it's just wild that they put all.
You don't know there's
stuff
actually a fireplace off camera. Roaring fire.
One of those globes that's got like a bar in it. I've always wanted one of them. And then they're like, okay, so David is like the pilot, but like Peter Cushing just keeps yelling at him to do stuff constantly.
He doesn't know how to do it without his.
It's just to pull the throttle lever,
Yeah,
which is always more. That's
not. Yeah.
Is that not the best bit of being a train driver? You've only got one button, haven't you? It's forward and back.
No, having played Train Drive Simulator, there's a lot more to it than that. There's doors.
All right, okay.
Indicators. I don't know.
Jettison.
They activate the view portals, which is just 5 tellies that they've glued onto behind this wheel. I really liked, like you said, like the whole retro aspect of it. And then they fire up the engines and they activate like these side caterpillar track things.
Yeah,
it was nice.
And then they have David raise it up 10 degrees, which I thought if you were just going straight through, surely you just go straight through. Rather than go in and then level out and then come.
I mean, it was a flawed plan from the start, wasn't it?
I mean, yes. But they set off drilling and they're having a whale of a time, these two lads. Like, they're loving it. And then, for some mysterious reason that I can't figure out, probably because it's held together with cogs and string, the whole machine goes tits, doesn't it? Like.
It goes into overdrive or something. David's leathered anyway at this point. Did anyone notice the diagram of the Earth's stratigraphy?
Man. I did indeed. Yeah.
Science.
Well, it's got your classic inner core, your classic outer core, lower mantle, upper mantle, crust, and then France and England.
England. They're not in any of those countries. Why has it got France and England?
Because, as we find out, like Dr. Perry is racist.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Bloody foreigners drilling holes. It goes mad. And then they all just decide to take their clothes off because it gets too hot.
So it gets too hot and there's some really terrible too hot acting. And then it gets too cold and there's some even worse, it's really cold acting. Now, how does that work? Because surely the closer
worry
you
about
get
that.
Oh, right, okay.
Don't worry about any of this because none of it makes sense. Because, they do some hot acting. They all fall over and have a nap.
Yeah.
And then they wake up when it gets cold and Abner's glasses are frozen over and we get a bit of good acting. And then they drive through a fucking lake.
Yeah, I was wondering what happened at that point.
And then the thing's broken and they go, it must have been the lake we went through. What? It doesn't look like it can float.
How is it
No.
airtight? The door, he literally closes it with a bit of string. It's like my old washing machine.
There's a couple of really interesting lines. Check the inclinometer. A bit
Mate.
on the nose for me, that one. And the nose cutters, which I think might be a gang out of a Mad Max film.
At one point, they break out into a bit of a sing-song as well, which just seems to be bum, 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 bum.
They just do the timpani noises, like they just do percussion. Bum, 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 bum. Calm down. They're having, like I said, they're loving it. And then they're like, the engines stall. But according to the map, they've drilled down into the core, and I've gone, and the machine's gone, nah. And it started coming back out.
Yeah, it goes down and it takes a kind of an eastern turn. Yeah,
it's like an ant farm, it looked like.
Yeah.
An alien ant farm.
Because they're fucked. They don't know what's going on. David's been on the Raz, hasn't he?
I told you they brought the medicinal cocaine. Yes, okay, right.
Opium.
Water's got in, so he immediately is like, "Oh, there's a crack a window open." Shall I have a look?
Well, they're not in the lake anymore. They've driven through the lake.
They don't know that because all the cameras have gone dead. But as it turns out, they're not. They're in an underground jungle.
Yeah, and the first thing they do, open the door, have a stomp about, stretch your legs, have a piss in it.
And
he doesn't get out and go, fucking hell.
Peter Cushing says, "Oh, we're at the Earth's core. Hey.
And then David goes, let's go and have a stomp about outside. And Peter Cushing goes, I'll get my umbrella, because he's British.
His umbrella is very important to the film. He carries it everywhere with him, but he does nought with it.
Underground!
He tries to shoo one of the big monsters with it, like Indiana Jones's dad. But yeah, they arrive into this, some would say, sub-Star Trek, the original series alien planet. I would say quite good. Looks like one of those things where you'd see an animatronic dinosaur in a museum.
Oh, there's plenty of animatronic shit turning up.
It gets less good as it goes along. It's like it starts out being all right, and then the more you look at it, the more you're like, it's just
cage.
Larry and gaffer tape again, isn't it?
They blew all their money on the plants. Like, you've got one day to film in the botanical gardens.
Yeah.
And then they were like, and then the rest of it's just going to be in caves, lads. Sorry. All right, fair enough. But yeah, they're mucking about in there, and he's like, oh, look at this frond. Wish I could take a frond home with me. And I was like, you don't hear the word frond often enough, do you? I'm going to bring it back. And then they see this big giant dinosaur fucking appears. And like Dr. Cushing is like, let's head towards it, because he's a fucking idiot.
And it's a dope fight music of this bit, though. Do. Yeah, really good. Doc, I don't think you want to get too close to that.
I've written here, the noise this thing makes is the worst noise.
Have we got any clips of it?
I was so like,
no, I didn't get time. I might, if I get chance, I might.
Up until now, it's the worst noise. Like in another 5 minutes time, I'm going to say worse noises.
I think the winking noise is the worst one for me.
Yeah.
Stop winking. That is like nails on a chalkboard, sort of.
And it doesn't do anything anyway.
I don't know what. Having watched this film 3 times in all translucency, like I still don't know what happens.
Oh no, it makes the Gamorrean guards do things.
It does, but you don't need to show that every single time they do something.
Yeah, it's the same bit of footage. It didn't cost them anything to film it once.
There's a lot of them just standing about waiting for stuff to happen, as we find out as well. A lot of crowd shots of the we bought 8 afro wigs and everyone's wearing them. So
this creature, by the way, the size of it is very inconsistent. I've noted. They kind of get kind of close to it, semi-close to it, and it's about 6'3", maybe. You know, the size of a relatively tall stuntman, and then he gets picked up by it, and it's 10-15 feet tall.
It's Godzilla, at one point, but there's a good bit where he's running away from it, and then we get like a side shot as it's chasing him, and I kind of wanted him to hit a brick and like a mushroom come out, and then he gets all bit because it's very he pushes Dr. Cushing up a tree, and he's like, hide up there, Dr. Cushing.
The natural enemy of the bird.
Is it? Also, by the way, all the way through, this thing is just making the same noise over and over again. No variation, nothing. Just on a keyboard. And then, as David is running away, as they always do in dinosaur lands, he falls into some quicksand.
Oh, man.
Yes. Hey, I've not seen that enough in these films. I was waiting for this to happen at some
I
point.
was going to say, it's like, as a child, I was a lot more concerned about quicksand than I ever thought I would be as an adult.
And he then spends the next 10 minutes screaming after his horse Artax.
Oh, don't. We were talking about
Sorry.
that. Like,
Too
childhood
soon.
films that are deeply traumatic, yeah. Not to get all Facebook boomer on it, but yeah. And this thing just like goes, all right, he's in the, fuck it, I'm not going in there getting him.
It looks frankly perplexed. I don't know what to do now. I
Doesn't
can't
understand the
defend-
terrain in the area in which it lives.
So yeah, it just fucks off. It's just like, I've had enough. Peace. Just goes
And
off.
I thought, genuinely, at this point, there'd be arrows thumping into it, and Amazonian women would swing on creepers and everything. And if this had been made 10 years later, that's exactly what would have happened.
If it was made
No.
10 years later and by Italians, that's
Yeah.
exactly what would have
Yeah.
happened.
Yes.
Yes.
Death by
No.
snoo incoming.
But no, none of that. This giant monster runs away, and David gets pulled out with a branch, and then immediately gets slapped in irons by, what were they called? Like the
Sagoth.
Sagoths. Yes.
Oh, very good.
Who have got pig faces on top and human faces underneath, because we're only paying for half the masks.
But they've also got racist Asian mustaches as well.
And the same haircut, all of them as well.
Yeah.
They've captured Peter Cushing as well, and they've chain ganged him up to a load of quote unquote humans.
Mm-hmm.
Rejected members of Big Brother and the Holding Company. Because everyone, this is the mid
Oh, I was
70s.
like, it's the cast of
loads
Hair.
students.
There's a bit where the doc says, see if you can remember him. He goes, oh, I'll remember him, Dark, but they all look the same. And I'm like, you've been here 10 minutes and already you're racist to the people that live
I
here.
will say, like, the Sagoths have no qualms about beating the piss out of people constantly. Like, they must have just said, like, be violent, which they've chucked to be. He hit everyone with sticks at any available opportunity.
Yeah.
There's a series of scenes of a forced march where they're just being twatted about by people. Dr. Perry also says they seem a pretty subhuman species, yet the master race. Give it a rest there.
Bronze over brain.
Yeah.
David spies a woman and immediately hones in on her.
Oh,
Horny boy.
Dear?
Princess Leia.
Yeah.
No, wait.
Dio?
He was rocked
For a long
time. And he's giving her eyes like that. And she's like giving them back. There's another guy there called, what was he called? Like Chauncey the Sly.
Hooja, beware, Hooja, the sly one.
Right.
Fucking hell, poor Hooja.
I mean, it's not as bad as some other names, as we find out, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true.
And he keeps turning around and looking at him, and we get like a bit of plot at this point. Dio explains to them that they come from a city, but the Sagas come to take them away as slaves to the fucking Nazgul, or whoever it is.
Yeah, that's right.
There's human tribes, human kingdoms of this great place called Pellucidar. The Sagoths are the minions of the Mahars, who are like bird people. So they're all going off to be slaves.
James, you cared more than both of us and more than anybody deserves. We appreciate you.
As they're marching along, one guy at the front is like, "Hey, I'm at the front. Oh no, I'm being eaten."
By
A
Bebop.
Triceratops or something.
By Bebop. Yes.
Bebop and Bebop who
Yeah, double
fight one
Bebops.
another.
There's big saucepan on the head vibes from this.
There is. And then one of them kills the other one, and he goes down like he's going for a nap.
Very
he goes
gentle
down
forward.
in stages.
I thought he'd been kicked to the balls.
No, he like gores him with his nose horn, but then he's kind of like does a Jim Robinson death. Like
It was at this point that I thought I'm gonna have to point out, listeners, that Star Wars was in production as this film was released. Look at this film and let that fucking sink in.
Although this was filmed at Pinewood.
It looks like it was filmed at Cricklewood.
No, I believe some of Star Wars was filmed at Pinewood as well. Wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost. Yeah, well, everything was Alien.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
But
Oh, that Rancor scene. Yeah, we'll have that in this as well. Yeah.
And then they just kind of go, on we go, and like Peter Cushing's like, no, I can help, and I'm like, mate, it's a big alien thing. How? What? Are you gonna give it CPR? What?
No, all he says is that they're excitable like all foreigners.
Oh, mate.
Ugh.
This is the start of it. They don't even speak the language. I've been here. Also,
They do speak the language.
Yeah, well, all of the jack-up historians speak perfectly English when it suits them, apart from sometimes when they have to go, "What is it, white man?" sort of thing. And I was like, what? No, because you can form structured sentences and give over detailed advice, but then for other things, you're just like, potato? Is it not at this point when John C. the Sly tries to steal Dio and David's like, no.
Yeah.
And he slaps him down and Johnny runs off and then Dio's like gives him the cold shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a hairy man who gets introduced properly later. He's something
Is that not
hairy
Gak?
anyway. Gak the hairy one or something. Right.
Well, I was just like, do you remember Nickelodeon? Do you remember Gak?
You do, yeah, like the slime type
slime,
stuff.
Well, he explains
Sounds a
that he
flat
basically he fought over and won and just owns a woman now.
Yeah, but he didn't
he's
take
like,
her
"Sweet."
or release her. So she's got the hump. Also, she's a princess. Because of course she fucking is.
Yeah.
All right, princess. Yeah. She fled.
How do you know? Because she's not covered in shit.
Yeah. She fled Jubble the Ugly One and got captured.
Right. No, so I set you a bit of homework here. What would your underground end into the center of the earth name be, James?
Well, I've renamed myself it.
What?
Swan the Sweaty.
Swan the Sweaty.
Oh, Swan.
Oh,
how we miss you.
That's how he spells it as well, with an O.
Mark, if you were trying to lure a princess into your hut.
Oh God!
Exactly the way I lured my wife, Haribo the Congealed. With a pocket full of congealed sweets.
Oh no. Well, that was a bit of fun.
You got one, Joe?
I was just like Bailey's the Milky or something like that.
Jeff the Capes. Who I would be astonished if didn't work in the stunts in this.
He was all of the stuntmen.
Andy was the one that raised the birds. Famous budgerigar fancier, Jeff Capes.
Yeah. God rest him. Is he dead?
He's still alive.
All right. Well, we'll just keep that for when
I hope he has a rest. I hope he has a nice rest. Fingers crossed this is not the curse of the podcast. We're not killing Jeff Capes.
Oh, mate. They've been marching for 2 days. David is furious at this because it's not dark. David needs his beauty sleep. And we
it does explain why it's not dark.
Yeah, because Peter Cushing says we're in a massive fucking cave, Dave. Like massive cave, and we're like 10 miles. So the light we see is the liquid hot magma above us. And I was like, this doesn't make sense. How is the magma staying in the air?
Gravity.
That doesn't track at all, does it?
Gravity. That all right? Why not? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then one of the pig men, probably the one that was hitting him before, nicks his dad's watch, and he's furious about this as well. Dio was run off at this point, as has Johnny the Sly, and it took David 2 days to notice that she's gone.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Gak explains all that stuff about we have rules. So, do you? Yeah. If you defend a woman, she's yours. And I was like, that doesn't sound like a good system.
I think he's got to beat Jubble the Ugly One. Pogs or something. I don't know.
Jubble the Ugly One, who has the strength of many men.
Yeah.
How many? 2.
more than one. That is many.
1 and a bit.
And that's since his eye injury, which is never explained.
The strength of 1 man and Kenny Baker.
Is he Master Blaster?
God rest him.
Well, we come up at this point.
All the way through this, I just imagined that like Peter Cushing was trying out to be C-3PO.
That would make sense. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
He's got
a very slight man.
He's got a very, thing going. It's infuriating because he's not taking it seriously either. He's like having a laugh with it constantly. Like, you've been captured by strange pig-faced men. You've been death marched to the town, the city of the Mardine or whatever they were called, right? And he's just like fascinating fronts, and I was
Yeah, it gets a bit relentless, doesn't it? But at this point, we're led to the one actual prop in this film, which is the fire curtain and drawbridge, which is the entrance to this Mahar city.
Mahar, yeah. But Peter Cushing is like, look, David, a fire curtain. And I'm like, I thought there were some things they had in theatres in front of the actual curtain in case there's a fire.
That's right. No. This is just some well-lit water.
This is the best effect they have, apart from the circle
Yeah.
of fire later.
I mean, if you look at the fire curtain, it is just like orange water. It's like loads of iron brew coming down or something.
when they're mucking about near that magma later, I was like, you'd be on fire if you were that close to magma.
You can't get anywhere near that.
No, as we learned in that one with the ground fissures. Yeah, that film will be done with the helicopter and the where they drive through that sulfuric acid mist and his eyes melt.
I know which one it was, but I can't remember.
No, I
You
don't
don't
care.
sink into lava. You just
catch fire and melt.
There. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They get into the city and they put them all in front of the Mahar. And then we get
Brontus Dino. It's an actual dinosaur. Somebody's made a list somewhere, but it's mutated underground so that it now makes burping sounds.
It's
and
Is this
Professor
Feed Me
Frinkle-
Seymour?
No, that's later on when we
Audrey too.
when we get introduced to Ra. No, yeah, because he's like, oh, look at that big dinosaur. The biggest ones we have on the surface are the size of crows. Thanks. Does that help me at any point? Feed it corn? I don't know. Like, try and get it to do my bidding. I don't know what this isn't useful information, Cushing.
It screams that it does a cheeky wink at people.
Yeah.
I shit you not. There's
It's
lots
flirting.
of winking scenes. In
It's
this.
like,
Go
it
on,
is.
you know I love you.
that big Mahar thing is winking constantly. They take him in front of this, and then like the big head, like the king of the Mahar people, who are essentially like pterodactyl men.
They're like the cultists in Slay the Spire. Like the
Well, that's a
coal
reference
people.
for
There you
several
go,
people.
reference-
But, yeah, and like it keeps doing this sweet noise every time it
Wink.
winks, and it keeps doing close-ups of one of like the Sega men. And I'm assuming this is supposed to. Well, we don't know yet, but we find out later on that they have limited speech powers, only screaming. Bit like me, but they have telepathy and something else, telekinesis or some shit, I don't know. And that's how they communicate. That's how they've managed to control the Sagas.
They can mesmerize, and they can
That's
also,
it. Yes,
with
they
the
can
power of
mesmerize
telepathy,
people. Yeah,
mesmerism. Yeah,
and that's why they've got the Sagas to do their bidding, as it turns out. The Sagas separate them out. All the women go to one place. Well, all the fit women, I will say. Like, just a couple of uggos in the thing, and then like
Bertha's not there.
yeah, Bertha the Wide. Bertha, the children's TV robot.
and the Doctor
She's
Perry
a lovely machine.
Dr. Perry gets very quickly institutionalized and starts running the prison library.
Yeah,
It's there for some reason.
but he's talking to himself and he's reading the whole thing. He's going, oh, very interesting. It appears that they have this whole command of things and the telekinesis and the mesmerizing. And he's written like 4 things. He's written like 4
He's
little
reading
blips.
a tablet that's in like frustration from Action GT hieroglyphs.
Yeah.
But then he's writing it in that. And it's like, there's no way you've learnt that language in that short space of
Well,
time.
he's a genius. He's a
He's a
mold
ball
machine
bag.
making genius.
But all the rest of them, like only Cushing gets taken off to be in the library. There's a library. For some reason, one guy's his assistant because he goes, put that back on the shelf, and he goes, okay, just puts it on the shelf next to him. Do your arms not work? While everyone else gets sent to work in the lava pool rock breaking depository. Like,
Yeah. He figures out that magma is eating away at the city, hence the need for the slaves to constantly divert it, which then never gets picked up again, I don't think.
don't worry about it.
Yeah. And then David just starts killing Sagoths, tries to start a riot, goes on the lam.
Yeah,
This is all moving really quickly.
he like
Not quick enough.
he just
No.
that one
For
day.
him,
it's
but for
just
the
like,
Doctor, really slowly.
I think the scene's missing. I think there's a film missing.
I'll just
Yeah.
wet my whistle.
Because like Cushing looks through like this portal and sees this big lava room with a big egg in it. Right, David like judo flips one of the Sagoths onto the floor, runs away, seals the door behind him, leaving all of his mates behind him, and then does some good graffiti on his way out because he finds this little crawly hole in the caves and scratches on all these directions and ends up outside where he's mucking about. He gets outside, he's like, phew, I'm outside. And then a guy appears and they have the slowest fight in the world.
Well, that's because he starts eating his random meat. Goes to a
mean-
campfire, there's something on it, just starts eating.
I mean, I would. Yeah.
Yeah, fair.
But yeah,
That's true.
Ra appears, who looks like Rudy Manchego, or in some bits, he looks a bit like Thornton Reed. What? Hello? Yeah, he's got right. I meant to look this up. Is that actor black, or is it someone blacked up?
No, it's he he blacks up in most of the films he was in.
Right, because I was a bit like,
Yeah,
with
he plays he's played Indian characters and
Right.
yeah, I looked. He died like 3 years later.
Probably it's not his fault.
Shame.
Like, you got to do what you
Well,
got to do to
Ra.
make money.
No,
but...
no, I've got a whole bit on Ra later.
Ra.
Oh right, okay.
Right,
Well, I
okay.
mixed
I don't
him-
wanna go
He's
there
from
for-
I've
Ghana.
mixed him up with Upar or whatever he's called.
Humpa. Ra. Who's Humpa? What
Ra.
is it?
Vavu.
All right, let's just go away from us. Yeah, him and Ra have a fight, a very slow fight, where they're just like squeezing each other's muscles like purple Aki. And then they fall into a cave and see Audrey 2 that's swallowed a disco lamp, tries to eat them, and then they just like roll away from it, and they're best mates now.
Yeah.
They're brothers in arms, yeah.
He gives him a spear and he's like, cheers.
He says, I have escaped from the city of the Mahars. And Ra says, no one can escape from the city of the Mahars. But I just did.
I just
told you.
And also, your camp's right near that hole in the wall that leads into the city of the Mahars, mate.
Yeah, through the tunnel of zany fabric. And yeah, you go out there and follow the chalk marks and you're in. And Ra says that the Mahar are evil. He doesn't know what they're capable of, but he'll show him. So together they climb up the walls of the Mahar grotto.
Oh, mate, this, right. No, but things like David is like immediately American. We must destroy them all. Like, he's like, you should all band together. And Ra's like, no, the tribes don't talk to each other. It's like, well, maybe you should, because you
hang
like,
on, because
it wasn't
Carter
the
Cash
numbers.
here because there is a ring of fire down there,
Right.
and it's
But-
going to get a lot of action.
it wasn't like there was 1 or 2 slaves being taken, was there? There was a lot of people in that chain gang. So if they're losing that amount of people week in, week out, like, it's not a sustainable society, is it? You think they're like ganged up. Anyway, yeah, they look down from this bit. They disguise themselves as rocks to look down on this ring of fire where all the fit lasses are. And one, this pterodactyl man again, winking. And one of the women walks forward and then turns around and walks back, kneels down, and then one of the other pterodactyl men like just picks her up and whizzes her around.
It gets really Cirque du Soleil here, doesn't it?
Because I was just like, I thought he was going to come down and like bite her head off or something. He just picks her up and like goes, woo, round and round.
And then Doug McClure does some big acting of being shaken by what he's seen. That's not a dignified death.
And then, like, I think some of the other ones swoop down, and we get some lady terrified acting, which I always like, where they just put the cameras at women and go, "Just flap about, love." David decides, I'll stop this with the only technique I know, because I use it later on, wuzzing rocks at folk. The Irish technique, if you will. He goes to throw it, and Ra goes, "No, don't be a dick," and yeets him off this cliff. Like, he pushes him. David takes a big old fall, gets up, and he's like, "Ow, that hurt. Well, best get my way out of here by climbing up." Oh, they've spat all them women about. They're knackered now. So all of the pterodactyl men are having a stand-up kip.
Immediately.
Eat, fall asleep. Like,
I couldn't work out what he was trying to do in this. Because he starts sliding underneath one, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
I didn't know what he was. I thought he was trying to like stab it in its gooch, or just
that's what
the weakness of the pterodactyl man is the gooch. Cushing told him. He sent him a tablet.
Go for the gooch.
Always go for it. If in doubt, gooch it out. And he climbs up this thing, and then like goes, ooh, and then nothing happens. And then he climbs a bit more, and I was like, well, that was tense. Question mark.
Yeah, it's really, this point, it's really kind of like quiet, and he's creeping and doing the creepy thing, and it comes to nothing, and then before you know it, he's out, and he's out.
He slides under a hole that's
Yeah.
underneath
Yeah, the
them,
back
but,
outside.
Yeah. And I thought, well,
And
what
they
was that
they
about?
share a romantic moment together, him and Ra, on a rocky
They do a
outcrop
little bit.
somewhere.
Yeah, they do a little bit.
It's a bit of a weird scene, that one. It's the same rocky outcrop that they use later on. That's
Don't worry about that.
Connected.
Right.
And then David says, "Oh, I need to get back in there." And Ra says, "Why? After what you've just seen, I need to find the secret of the Mahars." And then
And Ra should have gone, "The fuck are you on about? What the hell? What? How do you know what the secret of the Mahars is? Like,
do you know that? How do you know that there is one? Yeah.
everything's got a secret."
That's the secret.
I mean, if anything
Winking.
sounds like a 70s album, it's Secret of the Mahars.
Oh yeah.
By Brian
I think
Purr.
I was going to say by Yes.
that- yeah.
It's a concept album. It's just people screaming while keyboards play in the background.
All the tribes distrust one another. Ra doesn't want to go back to his tribe and abandon David now that they have a very strong bond. And he says that the Mahars will make a meal of us. We've just doubled our strength, though.
Doubled our
And I was
strength.
like- I was
we're as
wiping away a tear.
we're as strong as Bozo the Ugly now. 2 men strength. It's fucking stupid. So they decide to go back in. And at this point, I think Cushing has seen this big egg that's in a room full of lava, and he's like, that's the secret of the Mahars. And I'm like, it's a big egg. It's a big egg with the top cut off and stuff squirting out of it. It's probably very symbolic. But what the fuck is this egg about? Nothing comes of it.
It's an egg, like a bird's egg.
It's an egg in a hot tub, is what it is.
I didn't get at all that this was an egg, by the way. And the thing that they do at the end, the really slow motion covering it up thing. Well, I don't know. I didn't know what it was. I thought it was just some sort of fountain of monsters.
Well, Cushing says
it's an egg with a slice out of the top of it, and it sort of bubbles over, so it is a bit weird. Yeah.
Yeah. But Cushing says this is where all of them come from. How do you know? It's literally an egg in a hot tub in a room. You're doing
it's also it's a room that doubles up for controlling the fire curtain as well. It's
it's practical. I put them in.
It's also where the janitor keeps his brooms and stuff like that as well. So they sneak back in, but the Sagos immediately find them and they get sent to a court of judgment. It's an arena. David has a spear.
Fucking hell! They come in and Ra immediately gets chained to a big stone cock that's in the middle of the
Yeah.
I was like, this is very Clash of the Titans. They're it's quite suggestive, this film, now I think of it. It's not Confessions of a Window Cleaner level, but it's certainly up there.
Similar era. Yeah. Enter the Rancor, everyone. I thought this fucking thing was gonna die the same way. And I was they clearly picked a better way to kill it in Star Wars. But it's like a Komodo dragon that's either had a lot of pies or it's a hippo with arthritis. Because it's shonky.
The designer's gone, what's scary? Hippos, but with more teeth.
They kill a lot of people.
Can we do that? Yeah, why not?
It's
got this plaster of Paris layer.
You ever seen Hippo take a bite out of you?
But it comes in, and I'm like, if this is supposed to be like a death thing, this thing moves so slow and awkwardly.
It comes in like a pantomime donkey. There is 2 men in there.
I thought they'd taken an old dog and they just covered it in plaster of Paris and let it loose.
Come on, Benji, come on!
Oh, if I'm more.
But it's just
he battles this thing
around.
It does it. He does big being shunted by a piece of furniture.
Oh, mate.
At this point.
There's a great bit in this, because he's got his trident spear to fight it with, and the thing he runs around it for ages, probably trying to confuse it or tire himself out. I don't know. And then he gets pushed into the crowd, and there's a woman there who's supposed to be shocked, and she's laughing.
Oh, I didn't spot that.
I was just because I've seen it so many times. She goes and stops him and pushes him back, and she's got a big old grin on her face. She's having a whale of a time.
He's picking its teeth at one point, stabbing it in the tongue.
Yeah, all the things.
I know, because it bites the end of his spear off, and I'm like, well, that's a perfect cue then to jam.
Absolutely.
Gums wide open, isn't it?
Yeah.
None of that happens.
No, he just stabs it in the side of the head a fuckload.
That's the secret of the whatever it is.
That's the secret of killing anything, really. Just stab it in the head loads, isn't it? It's not. That's not the secret of the Sagoths, is it? Stabbing it in the head. That's just common sense.
And then the Mahars attack because he's destroyed their beast. Ra then just throttles one with his chains.
He goes
Jabba style.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I've written. That's exactly what I've written.
Until it burps itself to death.
It does. He's not even. They don't even give this Mahar its own fucking party skiff. Do you know what I mean? Very disappointing.
His pals do nothing.
Oh, there. Go on, Gary, get him. Go on. Oh, Gary's dead. Oh, well, that's more sleeping room for us later. We can spin more lasses round later.
More women for us.
Yeah, go
fire up the jizzy egg. We'll get a replacement.
Less Berthas.
Oh.
The humans cry freedom and start rushing about. It goes a bit mad. I mean, they are rushing about. They're not even attacking anything.
No, they're just going mental.
Ants.
It's like a flash mob. I start dancing to "I Want to Dance with Somebody" by Whitney Houston. But they just go, they killed one of them and the big old lizard dog thing. And this is all it took. Freedom. And then just running about.
David starts battering the Sagos.
David starts punching everyone. He loves it.
Yeah, Dr. Perry says now that he's figured out the secret of the Mahars, and it's useless because they've already like throttled one. Like obviously that's the secret of the Mahars. You just
Don't go for the
club them
gooch,
one
go
with
for
a
the
chain.
neck. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Sorry, that was just a very arresting sentence.
Sorry.
We're into the last 30 minutes of this, so it all gets a bit,
Ranty.
I'm not going to say it gets more mental at this point. It
Moves
doesn't.
along at a fair old lick at this point. Yeah.
Dr. Perry leads him into the cave with a big egg where they all come from, and then David leads him into a tunnel that he's been into before and gets immediately lost.
Yeah, because all his chalk marks have been washed off. I'm assuming by them little goblins from Labyrinth that turn all the signs around.
Turning them around.
Yeah, that's what I assumed, but I think they just forgot that they'd done that in a previous scene.
There's been animals in the forest eating his crumb trail.
Dr. Perry gets tired, sits down, and just goes, David, have you ever thought of going to the moon? And it's like, what is going on?
He's setting it up for us. See,
Cushing, seriously, mate. Read the room. Well, read the cave. Like,
read
what
the
I've
centre
got-
of the earth.
We've got to get out of here before we go fuck about on another planet.
Stop your Corporal Jones impressions. Come on.
David!
They emerge on the same outcrop as before.
Fuck
Hooja
this.
approaches them. He's got Deer as a hostage.
He's
for some
chasing Dee
reason.
around. Like, woohoo! She's like, oh, chase me. And then
Oh
he
no,
pins her.
a fire toad.
And then this thing that goes, bah, keeps firing fire at him. Over
The
and
designer's
over.
back. Fancy another monster? Same as the last three, all right. But this one burped fire. Yeah, it's all right. Yeah.
All right. What size is it? Don't matter. The scale varies depending on what angle it's taken from. Yeah, it's
Hooja
burping.
immediately runs away.
He's a coward. Should be Cuja the coward. Yeah, and like, what does David do? What he knows best. Whips rocks at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he's probably not got any hair on the back at this point because he's just shielding her with his asbestos back or something.
Well, he's torn sleeves off his shirt as well to get his corned beef arms out. Like, yeah, but he shields her, and she's like, oh, like still being a bitch to him. And he's like, I know what I'll show her. And I know what women love: rocks thrown at lizards. So he whips it at this thing, right? And he misses it, like, it doesn't do anything. And then out of nowhere, fucking Peter Cushing's whipped up a bow and arrow. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, he didn't have that in the tunnel, so he's just crafted
he does
that.
explain where it comes from in a minute, but he's like, I will say, be nerdy, his form's pretty good. But
I've noticed that, yeah.
yeah, he hits this thing like 3 times, then he goes bullseye. I was like, it falls off, falls down a massive cliff because it's the scale is all mad, and then fucking explodes.
I
was
lost my shit at that.
How was
And
this
they were
thing
like,
evolved?
that was so good. Let's do that with all monsters of the future. Rolling like a canyonero into the abyss.
How was this thing evolved? If it stubs its toe, explosion. Like, you bang your head, explosion.
on a
Undercooked fish,
countdown.
prison. Yeah, it's and then she's like, "Oh yeah, thanks for saving me. I guess we're cool now."
But she's a bit huffy. And then
Yeah.
Dr. Berry goes, be masterful, David. So
Yeah,
he talks to
yelling
her
across,
masterfully.
It's her, David. It's her. And he goes, sit down to her. She's like,
He's going, have you not read Diceman? Be a dick to her.
yeah, it's negger, not egg, like a bird's egg.
Like a bird's egg. Yeah.
She says that, all right, since you've talked to me masterfully, Hooja is going to lead Jubal here, and he's the strongest and ugliest man in Pellucidar. I was like, well, he's only got one nickname, isn't he?
Yeah, they could have gone with Jubal the Strong. Like, he's every year he puts out a petition to change his name to Jubal the Strong, and they're like, fuck off, Ugo.
And then
Know
they
your
kiss.
role.
The two of them kiss very
No,
forcefully.
he kisses her, and she's like,
Yeah, she's not into it.
No. Peter Cushing goes, oh, I've just made this bow and arrow out of my glasses.
Yeah, I don't fully understand
He says
that.
the core
He's
from my
MacGyvered it.
glasses. And I was like, what? More
More
core
samples.
samples? And then they go, right, I guess we've got to go and kill Jubal then, haven't we, to further this plot somehow. I don't know.
Sure, why not?
Oh, it'll be his Pisney, won't it? He's got Pisney glasses, so it'll have like a springy thing in the middle to hold the glasses together.
Oh,
He's
right.
used
Okay.
That's what I reckon it is about.
He
It's a
also
bit
dry
random, though,
fires
isn't
his bow as well, which you shouldn't do because anyway. But
it? Well,
All
he
right,
gets-
Katniss.
he gets other people to make bow and arrows, and it becomes like a cottage industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh,
But they can't all use Pisney, so yeah.
No. Also, Hooja, speaking of cat, it looks like Cat Weasel as well. I've noticed in my
He
notes.
does.
Yeah. Brigadoo, size of Jubal the Strong. They muck about in this clearing, chasing Hooja around, and then Jubal appears, and he's just got some porridge on his face. He's not that ugly.
That's right.
Like, come on. There's
Just a
worse
messy
looking
eater.
people. Yeah, worse looking people. Gak ain't no looker, is he?
Oh, yeah, because Gax turned up. He says, you've defeated Jubal. Oh, hang on.
No, we have the fight with Jubal.
No,
first.
you're still gonna have a fight, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because
he's just screaming in the clearing.
yeah,
He's not in a good way.
come and fight me. Like
Come
David's
on.
got his hatchet that he's got from somewhere,
Yeah.
and like Peter Cushing's got a thirst for blood now. He's like, I'll just waste him from here with the bow and arrow. And Dio's like, no. David has to do it, otherwise I'll have to bone you. I don't want no part of that. That Jacob Rees-Mogg penis flapping about the place.
The sound effects here, clang, clong. It's like sounds from a Foundry Volume 3.
They got him from the start. That's that lad banging on that pipe at the
Of course
start.
it is, yeah.
Mic this up,
Twatting
Derek.
a wall.
Yeah. They have
He
this
takes
fight.
out a Morning Star at
I was
one
going to
point.
say, this thing he pulls out from behind his back, that he's been ploughing the ground behind him with this thing, right? It's an impressive piece of weaponry. David's got his little hatchet, and yeah, there's these clangy clangs. He breaks David's hatchet, so David does what David does best, batters him with a big log. Just hits him in the tummy, loads with this big log. And then pushes him into a well that catches fire, question
Yeah.
mark.
Well, that's everything
It's the
catches fire
explosive-
when it falls. Yeah.
There's explosive mushrooms.
Is it?
Yeah, there's like some spore that comes out of it.
Oh, I thought he pushed him into like an
yeah.
old well, and then he
There's
prized
a lot of it.
this big comedy spear as well, which is not aerodynamic in any way, shape, or form. He runs over and just stabs him up, and Peter Cushing's like, "Great, off we go!" Like, there's no fucking we've just we've just arrived in someone's country, murdered someone, and we're fine with that.
Oh yeah, it's Victorian times, though, isn't it? So,
Yeah, I know.
yeah. So, Hooja escapes. Dr. Perry takes a pot shot at it, but he misses him.
Yeah.
Gak turns up, and now he's like, "You've defeated Jubal. Deer is yours. Deer will not be mine." Oh, because the emancipation of women, because she could choose her own destiny. Until I've defeated the Mahars and freed
Yeah.
Pellucidar.
You keep putting these steps into your flowchart, don't you, David? Like, you could have just gone to Bone City at this point, but no. I've got to strangle some more pterodactyl men.
Oh,
Unbelievable.
It's what gets him. It's what gets him hard.
So they go and talk to the Council of Tribes, which is like 8 dudes with afros. And they're like,
It's bad.
right, we need to rise up against them. And they're all like, all right, sweet. Thank God you came along, White Savior. Otherwise, we'd have kept being nicked by these pigmen constantly. They build a lot of bows and arrows and do a very brief training montage of that, and that's it. And Peter Cushing's like, a bunch of Robin Hoods. And I'm like, who are you talking to? These people don't know who that is.
Yeah, they come up with a plan of attack, which is as brief as these films always are. David's going to lead a head-on assault. Gak, who's just turned up, is going to come up the rear, steady on. And Dr. Perry's going to cut off the fire curtain. No other details. Go.
Yeah.
He says,
Deer
I'll
wants
lead
to
the
come.
charge, but Dr. Perry will be in front. And I was like, well, you're not
Yeah.
at the front then, are you?
That's right. Yeah.
Deer wants to come, but David says, no, you're not coming.
woman?
Why? Because you always end up hostage. Always. In every scene you've been in, you've been a hostage. No, we've been through this. She sees
goes-
Hooja in the undergrowth.
All right, there's Hooja lurking in the shrub over there. I'll fuck off over there and chase them around for a while then. And David's like, I've got important things to do, woman. I've got to work out whether I'm going first or second in this queue. Dr. Cushing, if you could just circle us so you're in the front and the back. It's madness. She chases off after him anyway because he's going to betray them or something too.
Who was trusting him with secrets?
Well,
Who was trusting fucking Hooja, the
he's
betrayer?
overheard the masterful plot of run at him, get him. He's overheard that. He's going to go and report that to him in the vain hope that they'll let him live or they'll put him back in the Matrix or whatever. I don't know. Nothing makes sense. Don't worry about it. We're dashing towards the end now, where it all falls apart massively.
They invade the Mahar city through the hall of zany fabric. It is just like fabric with torches through it.
Yeah,
It's
don't worry
weird.
about it.
Deer sees Hooja getting arrested for loitering by the Sagoths and then links back up with them. Hooja might betray us. It's like, whatever. Let's carry on as before then. And then, oh no, ambushed by Sagoth. Who would have thought this would happen?
We're terrible at this.
There's a line, I don't know if we've missed it or if I'm jumping in too early here. Oh, you could roast an ox in here.
Yeah.
I'll flash fire buffalo in 30 seconds.
It's
it's just very warm. Oh, you could roast an ox in here.
You could put an egg in here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Ra manages to get into the inner sanctum and brawls
The egg
with
room.
Sagoth wantonly.
Yeah.
He gets tomahawked in the back as he's trying to flip a lever or something. And it's the lever for the fire curtains that opens, and the humans at the gate press forward, and then Ra goes for the big egg.
No, does he not start opening it? Because I remember one guy jumping through it, and then it opens up and it closes again, and you go ah! And like runs through it. I remember that, but I may be wrong. I don't know.
It's very inconsistent in its opening and closing.
Yeah,
it's not the same every time.
Like the spa near me. Doesn't Peter Cushing and Dio get kidnapped as well at this point? And we get that great line of, "You can't mesmerize me. I'm British."
I'm British. Yeah, what a twat.
They get put in the ring of fire.
I think Paul McKenna would disagree.
He does get mesmerized though, so at least they're taking the piss out of him. So Ra does get to the rope of doom and pulls it, causing doom. All the Mahar start screaming. I've got no idea what's going on.
No, and things just start exploding for no reason.
Yeah, what is
Colours has come
exploding?
down.
What is in there that's explosive?
Eggs, lager,
Lager,
explosive
lager.
lager. Yeah. It's I don't know. Maybe the Mahar are like the fire breathing lizard.
Maybe
They're all
that's
just
their secret.
a hair's breadth away from exploding at any given time. I don't know, because they all run through the fire curtain that's been stopped by Ra, God rest him, right? And then like they were all out. Why have they come back in? Because then they all escape.
Because Deer is mesmerized by the Mahars, so they have to go back and rescue her. And apparently, the cure for mesmerism is just grabbing Deer by the head,
Yeah,
and then
shake
holding
him.
her head next to the doctor's head.
Yeah, shake him, slap him a bit, and all.
Snap out of it.
Oh, woman.
Yeah. And then there's one final boss fight as a Mahar swoops down awkwardly and gets David. So he just hurls it. He hurls it away and it explodes.
Like, this must have been the greatest day for the guy that played that Mahar. It's like just on ropes, whipping around that room. It's not flying. He's like hovering around it. It's beautiful. And he just yeets it off like into the distance, and they're like, "Job done. Move on." Right, off we go before everything starts exploding.
Yeah,
and they just leave. Like, it's not a good. I think as
he
they're
grabs
leaving,
his dad's timepiece as he marches out as well. He gets that.
You remember which one it was, yeah.
Yeah.
As they're leaving as well, he's like, "Come with me, Peter Cushing." And Peter Cushing goes, "Don't worry, my hands are on your trousers." I was like,
that's what he's worried about.
Yeah. That's why it was called the Iron Mole. I don't know.
The Rancor. There's another one somewhere that's roaming about.
Oh, they're all in like cages, and they're all just like bopping them as they run past and give it a twat. Like, it's fucking chaos. It feels like there was more stuff that was going on.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, Hoosier gets munched up by the Rancor
by
too.
one of the Rancors.
Yeah.
And then it explodes. Because everything's fucking exploding at this point.
Yeah, they're all running through. No, we've got to wait for Ra. And Dr. Perry goes, like, Peter Cushing's like, "Fuck him, come on." He's just like, "Leave him, right? He's dead. Everyone's exploding. Let's go." It's like the end of
Have you seen that city back there? It's like the fucking Hindenburg. It's there in the background. Just like,
they run through like the entrance cave bit, and everyone else runs off, and David stops and then gets exploded by the door.
There's no question as to how this is impacting the Earth above, is there? Like, does stuff just explode in the center of the Earth daily?
Is this what earthquakes are?
Oh, perhaps, yeah.
Downstairs, yeah.
If you're a geologist, let us know. If you think
the center of the Earth is not a molten core, but instead
send in some core samples.
If the earthquakes are caused by corgi dogs covered in plaster of Paris exploding willy-nilly, then you probably need to go to school more. And they get out, and then like, "Hey, everyone's winning." We get the dun 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 dun, where he's putting medals on everyone. No, they've somehow managed to fix the Iron Mole.
Yeah,
by bashing it with sticks, or I don't know. And he's like, "Come on, Dio, we're going." And she's like, "No, I don't want to go up to your world because it will be strange and foreign to me."
And at
I
no
want to
point
stay
does
down
anyone
here
go,
where
"Listen-
everyone's wearing Hawaiian garlands for some reason.
Listen, love, it's Victorian Wales. It's no less prehistoric than where you live already.
Yeah, to be fair, yes. Also, could you buy some clothes that's got side panels in it? Because all of your tops are just covering your knockers. And then he goes, "Oh, I'll miss you. Have a watch. Bye."
Yeah, she's like, well, you could stay down here. And he's like, no, I don't want to do that. Right, let's
That
go.
stinks. Everything explodes constantly. Post-traumatic stress.
You've not got any champagne.
Oh no, I've noticed he's put his jacket back on and sewn his suit sleeves back on as well. Like he's got his confidence and paranoia jacket back on, and then he's just like, "All right, well, bye, love. I won't think about you." Off we go, and then they just drill up, right? And this was the best bit. I was like, "What the fuck is happening?" We cut to like the ending of it, and it cuts to the White House on a back broadcast, and this thing drills through while two English policemen are stood in front of the gates, and I was like, "Is it, bring a Bobby to work day?" Like,
I also didn't realise that the entrance to the White House is just a gate with two cars.
Yeah.
Don't worry
Let's
about
just
that.
run down there.
And they run towards it, but then
And then
vanish.
stop.
They run. Oh, were they paused?
They paused, and then,
I
as
thought-
the credits started rolling, they went, "We've not got the ability to pause this. Run back towards the camera, lads!" And then he run
Yeah.
towards it. It was, and then like that's the film. That's the ending of the film.
Like,
is that
Yeah, the terrorist attack on the White House. Yeah,
it's the mole man from
The
Incredibles
Incredibles.
2.
Yeah.
but that was At the Earth's Core. Your score, James?
I was going to go with 3 silver steaming eggs. It wasn't gold territory. Definitely wasn't bronze. It was squarely in the middle because it had some embarrassing shit in there.
Mark?
2 silver exploding jabbers.
Oh, very good.
I'm going to go 3 silver. Kiss me like what is this British thing called kissing?
It's considerably better than most of the stuff we do, but
We're
that
very
says
consistent.
very little.
It's of
very
its time,
consistent
and
in
I
scoring
quite
that.
like.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it was Saturday afternoon, like Sinbad and it's like the later Sinbads are. It was fine, but there's none of it made sense, and I still don't fully understand most of what happened. What was the big egg? Why is everything explosive? Like,
Answer my questions. What is the big egg?
what is the big egg? Put that on a shirt. Like, there's no happy ending. Like, everyone's just all right.
No.
Well, we'll just go back to Wales.
There wasn't for David.
No, he didn't even get. Well, he might have thrown it up, or I don't know. But yeah, that's that.
Yes, that was At the Earth's Core, 1976, also known as En el Corazón de la Tierra, in the heart of the earth in Argentina. Arzindibindi, at the bottom of the supply in Turkey, which
Bottom of the supply.
it feels like a card game, but I don't know.
All the staples are kept.
The Tusen Farona's land. The land, I think this is the most fitting one in Sweden, the land of 1,000 hazards.
Isn't that a Genesis song?
The same year as Rocky, All the President's Men, and The Omen. And as
What?
Mark mentioned earlier, it's the year that filming started on Star Wars. It's also the year that John Wayne appears in his final film, The Shooters.
The hell he does.
Sign me up for some shootism.
The big racist that he was.
Sign me up for the fact that he got poisoned by filming that film Downwind.
Oh yeah,
Where they were doing old Oppenheimer.
Nuclear testing. Yeah.
That everybody in that died of pretty nasty illnesses because of it. Nothing to do with the fact that he was a massive racist, but also that.
It's fun, isn't it, when it happens, big racist?
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah.
The budget for this was
80.
1.5 million, apparently. I
Million
don't buy
what? Drachma?
that.
Yes.
We can rebuild him, but we don't want to spend a
We
lot
don't
of
want to spend a lot of money.
Budget ranges from about 500k to 1.5 million dollars. I've seen those shonky costumes that they were wearing.
Did it make its money? Did it wash its face?
It definitely did. It made back $3.2 million. That's nearly $17 million today. It was the 18th most profitable British film of 1976.
Yep.
The other ones were all Hammer horror.
Yeah.
Well,
they were all
Peter Cushing was
Christopher
probably in
Lee
it.
shouting.
I believe wasn't the studio that made this Arcus. I think this is the last film they did, and it was it was the alternative to Hammer, I believe.
Yeah,
all right.
That's absolutely right.
It's Hammer.
I tried to look up whether you could actually buy a volcano, and there
All
are
right,
no...
super villain.
Help you put safe search on.
I never do. There's no laws in the US prohibiting it, apparently. But regardless of whether a person can or can't own a volcano, they don't have the right to the lava that results from it, according to Atlas Obscura, which is interesting.
So you just...
And you know why that is?
What are you paying a service charge for the lava?
The reason for that is that you can't have anything on your land affecting somebody else's land, which was a legal precedent that was set in Radcliffe in like the 18th century.
It was, yeah.
Very good.
Well, what if I just keep all the lava on my land?
Well, you
my
can
lava.
try.
Get off.
Is that like when you own a place on the beach? Do you actually own the beach? No, you can't own the beach. Well, what if a chick walks across the beach? Do you own the chick that walks across the beach? Super Troopers references for nobody.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, but because we had a thing with
This
Mum
is
and Dad had the thing
solid David dialogue there.
with their water thing, and it's like you're responsible for X amount of water pipe outside of your house, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think similar to that. Let's say move on.
Yeah. Pinewood Studios released following the success of The Land That Time Forgot, which is another Burroughs novel. This was produced by the Edgar Rice Burroughs Incorporated. And in the US, this opened on his birthday, September the 1st in the US. He also created the characters Tarzan, who also ended up in Blue Sierra in one book, I believe, and John Carter as well.
Burroughs, I see you've written another book. What's it about? Going to the centre of the earth again? Yeah. Fucking hell, mate.
Yeah.
What about the moon? Nah, Jules Verne's got that one covered.
But we will go to Mars. John Carter will go to Mars.
Oh,
but we won't say it in the title because we don't want people to know what it's about. Fucking Disney, man.
Kevin Carter.
He was also apparently a massive racist and in favour of eugenics, and that does feed through.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, we'll move on from him. Music, Mike Vickers from Manfred Mann, as discussed previously. Director was Kevin Connor from the last Hallmark film that we watched. This was his first film. What a first film to direct.
Everything is gonna do an exploding.
He's gonna go.
No,
that's fine.
I don't know.
So Doug McClure, everyone.
Oh.
I didn't really want to do too much. I mean, he was lighting up cigars all over the gaff. He died from lung cancer, age 59. So let's move on.
Murderousness.
Apparently,
Gladys, the groovy mule.
Apparently, he did ring up the Simpsons writers, like, is that me? And yes, it was.
They just went no. They just went no. When he went okay.
But yeah, apparently he was really good about it. He thought it was very funny, which is good. Dr. Perry. Go on.
No, it's one of the best running Simpsons
It is,
jokes.
yeah, absolutely. It's hilarious.
The list of Troy McClure films is one of those things I just look at sometimes and laugh.
Yeah,
because
Alice through the window glass. Yeah.
the fantabulous contraption of Dr. Horatio Hornswoggle.
It's one of those things I always just go dial M for murderousness because it's ridiculous dial.
Alice doesn't live anymore.
Yeah.
Isn't it turned on? I can't hear it. It's so quiet. We just do this for an hour.
Yeah,
I know, right?
Troy McClure
Scrap
films
the
for
rest.
5 hours.
Peter Cushing, obviously very, very famous. In the very same year, went on to do his most famous role in Star Wars. According to
Only
Connor,
Van Helsing's his most famous role, right? Didn't he not play Van Helsing like 8 times or something?
I mean,
Sorry,
he
I'm
did.
being a pedant here, but
No,
as much as I loved, as
but
much
more
as I loved
people have seen Star Wars.
Yeah, then
Yeah,
old
okay.
hammers. Yeah.
Isn't
I mean, that's what he was known for.
was he on his uppers doing this? Because this feels like something that he knocked out in a weekend, like, you know what I mean?
I think he was in a very low place at this point in his life. His
Right.
wife died like just shortly before, and he was like, "I just want to do something different. I want to
it's
go."
fucking different, all right, mate.
Yeah. Connor said he was brilliant to work with, one of the great gentlemen of the cinema, who used to wear white cotton cutting room gloves when he was smoking off camera. And lots of people have said that about him. That was like his trademark thing, that he wouldn't like do
Like
anything
a snooker
other than
referee.
just there, just
Replacing the white ball with some tab.
Fucking
you can
lunatic.
picture it.
I can. Was he smoking actual cigarettes? Was he miming them? Oh no, my cigarettes are in the wind.
It's
they're over
very
that
interesting.
wall.
Very interesting that you mentioned Sinbad earlier, because Caroline Munro, or Dear, was in The Golden Voyage of Sinbad, 1973. She was also in something called Star Crash, 1978.
Oh,
Yes,
see,
please.
As much as I would love to do Star Crash, it has been done to death.
I thought as much.
Oh, it's tremendous. It's a very bad Star Wars ripoff.
Yeah, it looks
I
like
recognise
that.
the picture.
It's
Yeah, I sort of do as well.
Mystery Science Theatre.
Yeah.
From Man Meat. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Crash Hard Body. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, she didn't talk a lot about this. She was a big fan of The Golden Voyage of Sinbad. In a 2002 article, which was incidentally conducted at a signing in Bury, she said, if I see them, my films, I tend not to like to see them because I always want to go and do it again, and you never really know, even when you feel like you're doing good, you never really know how the camera angles are or how the directors perceived it. So I kind of feel like this is probably one of those middle films, and she was much happier with being a Bond girl in The Spy Who Loved Me, 1977, and loads of horror films.
Yeah, she's got a very big
good for
scream queen vibe about her.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think in Sinbad, is she not like the weird genie thing with like the harem pants on?
I don't know, because you won't let me do one.
We can do one if you want.
Well, can we do the one with Tom Baker as the bad wizard?
If you want, we'll do it in the new year. Put it in
I
the
know
calendar.
as soon as I do it, it's just going to make me sad. But
Oh, I will do. They're shocking. They're absolutely shocking.
But at least they've got like proper claymation in it and not whatever.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, whatever this is meant to be. Yeah.
I'll finish on Ra, Cy Grant, a Guyanese actor. And you read about him and you're kind of like, well, where's his film? He was an actor, musician, writer, poet, World War II RAF veteran.
Potter.
In the 1950s, he became the first black person to be featured regularly on television in Britain. He was on the third programme. In 1943, on his third operation as a flight lieutenant, he was shot down over the Netherlands during the Battle of the Ruhr. He parachuted to safety into a field, was helped by a Dutch family. Somebody ratted him out to the I was going to say the Stasi.
Dutch.
A bit later. It was all the double they were talking. A policeman handed him over to the German forces, and he was imprisoned in Stalag Luft 3 camp until 1945. He then became a folk singer and released albums such as Cool Folk, 1964. He became a Taoist practitioner after that. And then a multicultural activist, dying in 2010. His other appearances as the voice of Lieutenant Green in Captain Scarlet and the Mysterons, ladies and gentlemen. Shaft in Africa, 1973.
Why is there not a film of this man's life? This sounds tremendous.
Yeah, doesn't it?
And Journey to the Far Side of the Sun, 1969, full of explosions, women in showers, gunshots, a man going all that nonsense going on.
Add that
on
to
the
the
road.
list.
It's got it all.
Yeah, add that on the list as well. We're doing that, especially the man going. That's right in my wheelhouse.
And this James fact grinds into the rock, never to be seen again.
We were gently mocking him. Yeah, it's one of those. There was a lot of this is so terrible reviews, but I picked one just because this sounds like the sort of man who has a letterboxd account and thinks anyone gives a fuck about what that means. Screen Man 30, 1 out of 10. There is something about Doug McClure's appearance in a movie that is a warranty of wretchedness. Don't hold back, Screen Man.
Is this Peter Cushing?
His initials are like a special cinema certification that comes somewhere before you. Don't know what that means. Cushing, on the other hand, seemed to suffer from both a dilatory agent and poor judgment of his own. He did excellent work in the Hammer movies as Van Helsing. I've seen him do a passable Sherlock Holmes in Hound of the Baskervilles, and his magnum opus, probably Grand Moff Tarkin in the first Star Wars. The only man but the Emperor who could tell Darth Vader to stop bickering and get away with it. But crikey, he's done some turkeys. There was that lamentable Daleks movie, for one.
Oh, piss off. It's got Roy Castle in it. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, not tap dancing or playing his little trumpet, but still. And here's another. There's a machine that's been hijacked from Tracy Island. It's a cylinder with a screw at the front and traction devices on the sides. I'm surprised Jerry Anderson didn't sue for plagiarism. Maybe he was bought off. Yet, if the movie is any guide, they can't have paid him very much. In 1976, and we're still mucking about in latex suits. That's about it, really. Some movies have an entertainment value in the so bad it's good category. This one doesn't even manage that. It wouldn't even entertain kids. I've put daft kids in brackets there. Crash Corrigan stuff from the 1930s has got more going for it. Ooh, someone's done media studies, haven't they, prick? Who the fuck's Crash Corrigan? I'm sorry, that's not
no
is that Mark Corrigan's dad?
Is he not always getting batteries at Toshi Station?
But yeah, like I think you got to look at it through that lens of like they were trying to do stuff that they didn't really know how to do, isn't it?
Yeah. Its only problem is that it gets a bit samey with the winking and the screaming and the.
They get captured and recaptured about 4 times.
Yeah,
like
it said it wouldn't entertain children, but it entertained me. I guess I was.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
children watch any old rubbish.
Even in that one with Captain Morgan in it, they only got captured twice. Like
yeah.
You know, take the rough with the smooth, I guess. That was 1976's Journey. No, not At the Earth's Core. Don't get confused, even though it's the same film and a million years BC and all of them. Yeah. Edgar Rice Burroughs, mate, he's phoning them in, weren't he?
Yep.
Valley of Guar.
Edgar, we need a new book by next week. Something about going to the middle of the earth. I don't give a shit, mate. I want 72 pages on my desk.
Did he have AI? Was he just throwing it all into the machine and it was writing them for it?
I think he just had an outline and he just used to change the names in it. Right. That's it. Your favourite quotes from the film?
I'll remember him, Doc, but they all look the same.
Bon voyage to the Iron Mole.
I have a firm grip on your trousers, David.
Flang, flong.
I have escaped from the city of the Mahars. No one could escape from the city of the Mahars.
You can't mesmerize me. I'm British.
Oh, that's also excitable. Like all foreigners.
Jesus, we've never had this many quotes.
It's infinitely. I mean, Cushing is phoning this in. Like he's
had a great time.
Say goodbye, boys and girls.
Goodbye, everyone. This is the thing, we constantly think that we've plumbed new depths, but no.